All right, so welcome to another rapid fire business story of the week. This is part of our rapid fire series, and today we have an incredible guest with us, someone who's achieved extraordinary success and is here to share their unique business journey with you. We're excited to hear their insights, so let's welcome them to the show. All right, so as this is our rapid fire series, we've got 1 minute or less to answer each question. So in a minute or less, give us the elevator pitch to your story and your life. Go.
Well, I've had the benefit of working on public policy and law throughout my life and engaging in creating new things, working on old projects, in established old industries, but doing new things. And most recently, I've helped launch a wonderful new law school in a place that really needed one because of its economic growth and didn't have a law school. And that's Northeast Florida, largest city, Jacksonville, Florida. And so the Jacksonville University now has a college of law, and we're very proud of it. And it's the very best from the start, which is really quite a trick. But that's after 8 or 9 years of planning before its doors were opened. And then I came on board, and we've been open now for 3 years and hitting it out of the park.
So that's fascinating, and I would love to dig a little bit deeper. So tell us a bit more about what you're working on today that you're most passionate about and believe will have the biggest impact.
We're getting ready to graduate our first graduating class. We've been open for 3 years. We're getting ready to welcome our fourth class, and in each of our 4 years, we've roughly doubled this class size, and that's so from 14 to 26 to 44, and now maybe a new class, the fourth class, about 80 or 90 students. So we're roughly doubling. You can't keep up that pace. The reason we're doing that is that from day one, we've offered the best legal education that you can get anywhere. And for example, our graduating class, already 100 of the class have outstanding jobs before they lined up for them after they graduate. We're very proud of that. But they are learning in the best possible ways all the fundamentals, but also all the things that lawyers will need that maybe law schools haven't been able to do so much. We can do it because we're new, not in spite of being new. And what our students, I'll boil it down to this, is they're learning how to use the most powerful tool humans have ever devised, and that's a legally trained mind.
So this next question is one that every entrepreneur has dealt with. Tell us about a time where you failed. We often say failure is the first step to success. So think about a time where you failed in the past. What happened? What did you learn from it?
Well, frankly, I don't remember failure, but I remember learning from things that could be done better. And one example of unexpected learning was when I was the dean before at Brooklyn Law School, and we adopted a 2-year program because of the need for some people to finish their JD career in a quicker period of time, but to do all the same work. We learned 2 things. One is that just studying less and getting out faster was not the right way to go. So what we did was made it sort of a Navy SEALs kind of accelerated program for folks who could work harder and get their studies done that are required for the American Bar Association faster. But in doing that and setting it up, we also learned that we would be much better off if we charged tuition per credit rather than per year. And this then gave greater flexibility for all of the students in that program to adjust their studies and course load consistent with the regulatory requirements in a way that best suited their own circumstances, which generated a lot of demand, a lot of benefits to students. So that's the kind of thing. And so it's not necessarily a failure, but your experience, you've heard this expression many times, of building the plane while you're flying it, which is what entrepreneurs do. It teaches you along the way. And hopefully you don't crash. I don't want to tempt fate, but so far I don't think I've experienced any crashes.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show to dive deeper into each of these questions. But for now, one thing that I often say is, and I tell this to my employees and the people who work with me and for me all the time, is that when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did that tree actually fall? This brings me to this next question. How do you make sure that all of these amazing projects that you're involved in get noticed? What marketing and advertising methods have worked best for you? You've got a minute. Let's go.
Well, for starters, I'm talking with you on this novel program, so I suppose that's one approach to marketing. I studied philosophy, and that was the first question that we addressed. And I want to tell you, when I was a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford studying moral philosophy, that question arose. And I will tell you that the only thing I learned from those Oxford studies in philosophy was that when I'm alone in the woods and I say something and my wife's not there, I'm still wrong. But notwithstanding, we believe that our business and our education and appeal to students is very much driven by communications. And we have a very comprehensive, very sophisticated communications program with very able people helping us get the good news out about what we're doing. I would also say that as a lawyer in private practice or in politics, that every big project I ever worked on had communications, mission-driven communications as an important element. So I think it's an essential tool in the entrepreneur's pocket to bring out and use as an integral part of any project management. I'll also add that as a brand new law school, before we acquired accreditation, and we got accreditation faster than ever has been done before, I believe that that's the case. We had to use communications because until we got accreditation, and I should say provisional accreditation, that we weren't able to use the normal channels to find applicants or have applicants find us and apply. So they had to find us by word of mouth, and it was essential that we use communications to reach new students.
That was so awesome. We're definitely going to dive deeper into this on a later show. And as we approach our last question, before we ask people how people can get a hold of you, how people can reach you, learn more about the work that you're doing in your company, and we will include all that information in the show notes, what I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to your younger self, to our audience, and to somebody, especially somebody who's just starting out in the same niche that you're in, but just doesn't know how to start or get going?
Well, work hard, learn from mistakes, keep going, move forward, celebrate success but not too much, and then move on and repeat, keep going. So that's the simplest form of the advice I give them. But I'd also say you should really seriously consider legal studies and a life where you use law as a tool, whether you're like 10% of the Fortune 500 CEOs who have a law degree, or you're in a law firm, large or small, or you're in government and using your law degree to serve the public, or in a nonprofit. There's so many options and opportunity. So I would say to my younger self, you made the great decision. You're in the right area, choosing law as your life's work, and keep going. This unlimited number of ways you can use that law degree.
Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find,
including appearing.
Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find.
Well, you can just reach us through our website, the Jacksonville University College of Law website, and just go to www.ju.edu/law. www.ju.edu/law.
All right, amazing. So you did it. Thank you for being a guest on the show today. Let me tell you what you can expect next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this, we're going to cut it into an episode. It will go on the Business Story of the Week page. So make sure you go on Apple Podcasts, review us, like us, go on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on Spotify, and this will come out in the next 30 days or so, depending on our workload and how many shows we have. We have had a lot of interest in the show lately, so we may be a little backed up, but the show will get out. In the meanwhile, we will send you clips that feel free to share on social. Also, the full episode, feel free to share any way that you like. The content is yours to share and put out there. We just ask that you mark us and tag us in the notes if you do. So in the copy, put hashtag Business Story of the Week, link back to us. We would appreciate that. And if you think that you might be interested in doing more podcasts, live ones and studio ones, Zoom ones, Riverside ones, there's a whole host of shows that likely, if you did this one and succeeded, you would probably be really great at, and a great way of getting your message out. So your host will talk to you about potentially getting you booked on a strategy call for a Business Story of the Week's sister company, Podcast Cola, or becoming a YouTube influencer through Viral Mirage. Thanks again for being a part of this. Looking forward to working with you.